Hello, I'm Diane Morgan. If you know who I am, you know who I am. If you don't, who cares? I'm here to explain Italian Time, a holiday phenomenon where Italians throw away their clocks and gather for eternity with San Pellegrino. I've been at this party so long that I've eaten 5 courses, hugged someone's grandma twice and been offered a job in the family restaurant. So this holiday season, make sure to bring enough San Pellegrino to last you through the meal, the after meal and the entire goodbye ritual. San Pellegrino, holiday on Italian Time.
Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Are you terrified of mice or rats or other rodents? It's Adam here, and if you can relate to that feeling of fear, dread, or anxiety at the idea of a rodent, I think you're going to get some value from this session, because I was working with a client that lived in an apartment, but they just bought a new house, and in their mind, apartments are safe because they don't have rodents, and houses have rodents. Now, intellectually, we know that's not true. There are some apartments that have mice, and there are many houses that don't have mice. I live in a house, it doesn't have any mice. So it's certainly possible that that isn't true. But if you believe that, then it can cause a lot of anxiety. Also, generally, homes that are older are more likely to have rodents than new builds, and then we're moving into a new build. So the actual probability of mice being in a new build house where no one's ever lived there before is actually very low. But that's not the point. The anxiety was real. And what they felt is that if they were to imagine opening a cupboard or going into their laundry room and there would be a mouse or a rat there, that would freak them out. But they were getting freaked out just thinking about that, even though they'd never actually lived in that house yet. So this does a lot of future pacing, accessing a resource state. And one of the key things that can make people feel resourceful is not this delusion that there's never ever going to be a problem, but that if there is a problem situation, they can resolve it easily. And in this particular case, it was the idea that they could remove a rodent from their house if they needed to. So part of the session before the hypnosis, we were looking at humane mouse and rat traps, the kind of ones that they've got like a little mechanism that they go in to get the food, and then it locks them inside safely, and then they can be transported. And they knew that if that happened, so long as the anxiety was low enough, they could actually take it to a park far enough away from their house that it wouldn't return. So this gets the idea that mice and rats is kind of a low probability, but it's also a low stakes situation. And it's specifically for this client, imagining that they can feel safe in a new home. But if you have a fear of mice or rats or any rodents, it's one of the animal phobias up there with insects and spiders that I've done more with clients than any. They're the top 3: spiders, insects, and rodents. And then probably birds, I would say. That's probably the 4th. I've helped hundreds of people with severe phobias. So if you have a phobia of an animal and you don't want it anymore, I would encourage you to check out the link in the description, book a consultation call, we'll have a chat. And normally it takes me 3 sessions and the fear is so low that life is just manageable without it. So if you have a fear of something and you don't want it anymore, just know that you don't have to keep it. It can be changed relatively quickly. So bear that in mind. But if you do have a fear of mice, this could be a useful session for you. And I would encourage you to find a quiet, comfortable place, the kind of place that you're not going to be distracted or disturbed, to relax and enjoy the session.
Don't chew on that, Max.
Cooper loves that chew too.
Oh, now he's into Cooper's food. Wow, he is loving it. What do you feed Cooper?
Blue Buffalo Life Protection Formula. He never leaves a crumb. I love it because it's made with high-quality protein, nutrient-rich fruits and veggies, and wholesome whole grains.
Looks like we're switching to Blue.
Blue Buffalo foods are made with the superior ingredients your dog needs to thrive. Can your dog food say that? Visit feedbluefood.com to learn more.
Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe in that resourceful feeling of calm and relaxation, and as you exhale, feel a wonderful feeling of release, as if tension, stress and worry are melting away and leaving your body in your outward breath. And I want you to think of a color that would represent resourceful relaxation. And as you breathe in, imagine breathing in that color of resourcefulness, that feeling that you have the capability to handle any demand. You don't need help, and you don't need to run away. That you have the resources to handle whatever life throws your way. Breathe in that resourcefulness and then imagine exhaling any insecurities, fears and doubts. Imagine them leaving your body like a shadow. Breathing in that bright color of resourcefulness and exhaling those shadows of insecurities, fears, worries and doubts. Almost like you're cleansing your emotions, giving your body those wonderful resources and exhaling anything that would fuel your imagination to think things that aren't even true. Some people think of fear as an acronym, FEAR, false evidence that appears real. And some people feel a real emotion and then assume that if the emotion is real, then the threat or the danger must be real. But you know that's not true. A child can imagine a monster under their bed and have real fear, even though the monster doesn't exist. Someone could imagine a mouse in a house that doesn't exist. But the thought of it being in a cupboard or a laundry room might be enough for the brain to think, what if? The recipe for worry and fear is, what if something bad happens? But the recipe for confidence and reassurance is, what if I can handle any situation I need to? Because positive thinking isn't the absence of problems. It's the resources to resolve a problem when it appears. I want you to imagine a movie where there's someone that looks exactly like you. You at your most confident. You at your most resourceful. And I want you to imagine that version of you in a new home. A new home even before you've moved in. And I want you to imagine that version of you has bought a selection of humane mouse and rat traps. I want you to see that version of you putting food at the end setting the traps and putting them at different locations in this new home before anyone else even lives there. And I want you to see that that version of you is happy with whatever happens. Because if these humane traps capture a mouse, then you get to remove the mouse even before moving in. But if there's a house with no food and there are mice living there, then the food in the traps is the only food that exists. And therefore, if these humane traps don't capture a single mouse, it stands to reason that there are no mice living in that house. So you either remove a mouse or get the evidence that there are none. Either way is a win. I want you to imagine on that same screen, returning confidently, resourcefully, pragmatically. And I want you to be checking your traps. And just imagine that one of the traps has caught one. But that version of you is not anxious or scared. See that version of you confidently placing the trap perhaps in a bucket, and then taking the bucket to the park, releasing the trap and the animal out there in nature, but far enough away from your home so it can't return. And I want you to see the sense of pride, accomplishment on that version of you. Because that version of you is now thinking of mice in the same way that you might think of clearing up vomit or removing a spider. Pragmatic and capable. That you are able to resolve an unwanted situation, but without needing anxiety to do it. And I want you to imagine how difficult it would be to feel any anxiety on the 11th time that you take a mouse to the park to let it go. Maybe there was a tiny bit on the first or second, but each time it got less and less and less, until now it's just something that doesn't bother you anymore. I want you to imagine a month after moving into that new home. You still keep the humane traps there, but you're checking them less and less. Perhaps one day they're just taking up space and they don't capture anything anyway, so you just put them away in an old cupboard, a box in the attic, there if you ever need them. But I want you to imagine one day, imagine seeing yourself like you're someone else, opening a cupboard and seeing a mouse is there. And I want you to see that version of you isn't shocked or scared, but just makes a thought. Let me get those humane mouse traps and put it in this location. Imagine that version of you returning to that same cupboard or location 2 or 3 days later and seeing a mouse inside. And imagine that version of you takes it down to the park and releases it. And now rewind that and imagine it happening from a first-person perspective. Imagining open a door, seeing a mouse, and feeling the same way that you would feel if a child vomited and you knew how to clear it up, or a little spider was in a room and you didn't want it to be there. I want you to feel how you would feel if there is a desire to resolve the situation. Imagine laying the trap in the same location, returning, opening the door, and then just imagine that there is a mouse in that humane trap. Or maybe a rat in a bigger trap. And I want you to feel a sense of empowerment, resourcefulness, as you imagine taking it somewhere to release it, far enough away that it doesn't return, in a way that makes you feel empowered. Just because you don't fear them doesn't mean they are welcome in your home. I want you to get a sense that when you think about houses and homes, you make the assumption that all houses and homes are mouse and rat free, unless there is irrefutable evidence that they are there. Either you see them, there's droppings, or you capture one. But if consistently there are no clues, it will reaffirm your belief that your home is mouse and rat free. And just imagine feeling safe, feeling comfortable, feeling relaxed in that new home, and knowing with absolute certainty that if in the future there was a mouse or a rat, you would know exactly how to capture it and how to remove it, and not need anyone else's help to do it. And if your unconscious can imagine that, capturing and removing a mouse or a rat, and feeling confident and anxiety-free while you do it, consider this a seed planted in your subconscious mind, as that belief will become stronger and stronger. And if you ever think of a mouse in your proximity, shrink it down to a dot and replace it with a scenario of you with all of the resources and capabilities to capture and remove it. If your unconscious agrees, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. I want you to imagine a year has passed now in this new home. You feel safe, confident, relaxed, knowing that there are no mice or rats there. But if, in the unlikely event that there ever were, your capabilities can resolve the situation quickly and stress and anxiety free. And with that in mind, it's time to float back to the here and the now, taking all of these new beliefs and thoughts with you. And the more you think in this way, the truer it becomes. And the truer it becomes, the less anxiety you feel, and the more confident, resourceful, and pragmatic you will feel. So take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, connect and calibrate into the here and the now as I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode of The Hypnotist. If you've enjoyed this episode or got some value from it, please give it a 5-star rating and review. And maybe you know someone that would also benefit from this particular episode, in which case share the episode with them so they can also get the benefit too. And if you would like to listen to this episode where it's just the hypnosis, so no intro, no outro, no explanation, just the hypnosis and completely ad-free, there will be a link in the description where you can subscribe at a very low cost and only get access to the hypnosis. So if that's of interest, please check that out. Thank you again for being a regular listener of The Hypnotist, and I'll see you again soon for more.